Yesterday, I recorded my video in which I said that I found, in spite of my impeccable conspiracy theorist credentials, and my general distrust of the official story of things, that I'm inclined right now to actually believe the official story on who killed Charlie Kirk. I'm inclined to believe that it was Tyler Robinson, this trans adjacent, uh, leftist indoctrinated ex-Mormon young guy with a transgender boyfriend. And I talked about why I found that plausible in the video that I recorded yesterday. The one thing that if there's one anomaly that stands out to me, and this is not an anomaly that suggests to me Mossad, because I think, and I will I will conclude that thought in a moment, but the reason why I don't believe the Mossad that Mossad is behind it is I'm pretty convinced from what I've seen and what I've heard that Charlie Kirk was still pretty much on the good side of Israel, and on the good side of the Israeli or the Jewish / Israeli um, people who basically supported him, or were his financial backers to a large extent or degree. He's done some things here and there that they didn't necessarily cotton to, but overall, I just don't see the Mossad deciding, okay, we're gonna have to take this guy out. He's definitely not an asset for us anymore. I still think he was very much an asset for them. He was a very appealing, charismatic, guy who had this huge, fan base, and was very good at reaching young people. And I think that this is something that is a loss for Mossad, if you will. It's not that they would be above, taking Charlie Kirk out. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, oh, Mossad would never do something like that. But I think if you listen to Nick Fuentes, his podcast on this particular subject, I was very impressed. I thought that Nick made a very strong case, while also giving plenty, fairly weighing both sides of the question. And since Nick is somebody who's best known as a critic of Israel, and the groupers have basically been all about, tormenting Charlie Kirk about his support for Israel, and so forth and so on. So for Nick to go this way and say, well, I don't really see evidence that Mossad is involved here, that to me speaks volumes, or says a lot. And I've gotten to really, I've listened more to Nick recently than I had before. And he's a young guy. He's 27. Looks like he could be 20, and sort of has a certain sort of disarming, his voice, the pitch of his voice is he still kind of sounds like a he could be a teenage kid or something. But and that, I think, is why I for a long time was not, was, I sort of thought, this guy, like, this guy is such a force for, this guy is so loved and so reviled, and seen as such a force to be reckoned with, and now I see it. I really do. I think I might have underestimated him. Either that, or he's, maybe matured over the last year or so. But in any case, but Nick is catching hell from his own base, and some people are saying, oh, you're selling out, Nick. This is this is some cynical ploy to, because you're believing the official story. This is some cynical ploy to, I don't know what to do. I don't even know what, to gain new members, to get more people to like him. If so, he's doing the exact wrong thing, because all of the energy right now, all of the energy among right-leaning people is Israel, 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 Mossad, 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 Mossad. They're way more standing with Candace now than they are with Nick, because Candace is saying, Mossad's behind this, and a bunch of other people are too, and alleging various things about why they suspect Mossad is guilty of, or is complicit in, at least in the murder of Charlie Kirk. I think it's kind of a shame. I mean, I should finish my thought on Nick, which is, I don't see, like, this argument that he's making this claim, like, for political reasons or something. I don't see how this seems to be the exact wrong thing to do, because all the momentum is going towards the Jews killed Charlie Kirk. The Jews killed Charlie Kirk. Mossad, Israel killed Charlie Kirk, and I mean, that's what people are saying. In this sphere of thought, of right-leaning thought today. That's the popular theory, and he's going in the opposite direction. Just because he weighed in the balance, he doesn't see evidence for it, and he doesn't see how it would be a net gain for Mossad or for Israel for Charlie Kirk to be dead. And Dave Smith has, of course, made a similar argument, and I think it's a real shame that someone like Dave Smith, who's been reliably, critical of Israel over the past couple of years, basically saying they're guilty of genocide in Gaza, taking them to task in every conceivable way. A vehement opponent of the behavior of Israel right now, in the post October 7th world. And now, just because he's making this also landing in the same place that Nick and I have landed, on this particular subject of not seeing evidence that Mossad is involved, that suddenly people are just turning on him and saying, oh well, you can't trust, this shows you can't trust the Jews. Of course he's a Jew, so of course he's going to stand up for the Jews. And they say this about him after he's been, like one of the biggest critics, one of the most prominent critics of Israel over the last 2 years, and continues to be a critic of Israel. But he just doesn't see the evidence for Mossad whacking Charlie Kirk. So, I think that for some people, there's a desire to associate Mossad with this horrible murder, this shooting, this brutal shooting of Charlie Kirk in broad daylight in front of thousands of people, including his wife and one of his children. It's sort of, but even if Mossad is as bad as you think, and maybe they are, I'm thinking that they almost definitely are. That doesn't mean, if you find, if something is an evil force in the world and has done a lot of other really bad things, that doesn't mean that they did this bad thing. All right. So you can make this argument without having ulterior motives, without being a sellout or a suck up, or a philo-semite, or anything like that. It's wild that Nick Fuentes is being accused of that. Now, like, oh, you got the phone call, Nick. Considering what he's been known for, considering what his shtick, if you will, has been. Anyway, but squaring the circle of what I was talking about, what I was starting to talk about earlier. One of the weird things about this assassination, one anomalous thing that does need to be accounted for, is this George Zinn guy. So George Zinn, the 71-year-old man of Jewish descent, whether that's pertinent or not, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, I don't know. Jewish American guy, weird guy, has been involved in a bunch of other political stunts, apparently through the years. But in this particular case, he was there in Orem, Utah, and after the shooting, he was saying, "Hey, arrest me, shoot me. I did it. I'm the shooter." And and it wasn't true, but he later said the reason why he did it was to provide a distraction so that the shooter could get away. Now, questions do come to mind for me here. This is one thing that I think we need some answers about, because according to the transcript that I read yesterday, of Tyler Robinson talking to what's his name, Twigs, his boyfriend, that Robinson said, "Oh yeah, after I shot him, there was this weird old guy who was making all this commotion, and they arrested him. That helped me get away." Which he was talking about it in a way that made it sound like he didn't know who this guy was or why he was doing what he was doing. Which suggests that Zinn was just there, of his own accord, doing his own thing for his own reasons, which kind of fits with the profile of Zinn and what he's done, the kind of things that he's done through the years. He's been at various political functions and done various disruptive things. And I think was even arrested for and served some jail time. But anyway, so I want to know why Zinn was there. Even if there was no coordination with Robinson, as the transcript would suggest, because Robinson said, I don't know. Again, said I don't know who he was. He was just this weird old guy. But why was he at this particular event? You know, was he following Charlie Kirk around everywhere, or did he just happen to go to this one event in Orem, Utah? You know, and if he went to this one event in Orem, Utah, why did he choose this particular event to go to? And then why, after the shooting, did he decide, oh, I'm going to be a distraction because I want the shooter to get away? You know, that it really, it's puzzling. It doesn't make much sense, unless the only way I would reconcile it is if maybe, if I don't know where Zinn is actually lived, if he was actually living somewhere in or around Orem, Utah, and that's why he chose to go to this particular rally, or if he'd become just this sort of groupie who followed Charlie Kirk around at his various events, but didn't like him, you know, was against him, but still was obsessively following him, which seemed to suit his MO, because he's that kind of guy. He's just a weird guy. You know, if that were the case, then that would explain why he was at this particular one. But if that's not the case, then, you know, unless he lived nearby, and which I don't even know, and I don't even know if there's probably a way of finding out. Maybe somebody out there can tell me. But why the hell was he there? Why did he happen to be there at the one Turning Point campus event where Charlie Kirk was fatally shot, as opposed to probably the hundreds of other Turning Point campus events at other locations where Charlie Kirk was not fatally shot? You know, what was he doing there? Why did he do what he did? Why did he provide a distraction? You know, it's something that I think needs to be looked at. And so I'm admitting that's something that doesn't fit. That's something that, it's the only, as far as I know, it's the only thing that really stands out as anomalous. You know, there have been videos of like that a couple of people have shown me where it's like, oh, well, look, here's this person making strange hand signals, or here's this person, you know, it looks like he's raising his arm and maybe he shot him. And, you know, none of those have been conclusive to me. And it reminds me so much of the Zapruder, people who comb over the Zapruder film of JFK, and who say, oh, look, you can tell that the driver of the limo is like, he's, you know, pointed a gun back at Kennedy and shot him. Or someone else has said, you can tell, here's where Jackie actually shoots Kennedy, shoots her husband Kennedy. I've heard these things, and I've also heard that there's somebody that, like, I saw there was some documentary that I saw, I don't remember the name of it, that combed over the Zapruder film and came to the conclusion that it was all a hoax, that JFK didn't really die, that it was a staged thing. You know, so everybody is watching the Zapruder film, coming to these disparate conclusions. They all seem kind of out there to me. I don't, you know, I watched the Zapruder film. I don't see what they see. But I don't know. I don't know for sure. You know, it's not like it's high resolution. It's, you know, it's somebody with a Super 8 camera in 1963. So, yeah, so you kind of see weird things sometimes, and people are looking at, you know, the shooting and seeing weird things here or there, and thinking, but to me, none of that really adds up to anything conclusive, anything that outweighs the official story, if you will, which seems to cohere pretty well. But the George Zinn thing, that's strange, and I'd like to know how to explain it. So there you go.